Welcome back after the holidays. I hope you all had good holidays. I think we had good ones here in our community. For me personally, it was a rough time of soul searching, of being sick, but I feel so much better. It's amazing how much better you feel after you've been sick. So I realized that actually last Tuesday I could have done Bereshit because we're on Noah, so I don't want to be behind. So we decided to do some Bereshit tonight and Noah. There are places where they go through a lot of names, so we could leave those out and you can read those on your own. So let's begin by reading because we're right back at the beginning and it's always exciting for me. And there's always something that I haven't seen before. Okay, so I'm going to share the screen. Here we go. Uh-oh, I have the wrong thing here. I don't want that. I want you. Okay, here we go. Jerry, you want to start reading?
Could you make it a little bit bigger?
I sure can. View, zoom in. View, zoom in.
Okay,
How's that?
that's good.
Big
Yeah.
enough?
Yeah.
Jerry, you want to begin? I can't hear you, Jerry. You're on mute. So we're beginning at Genesis, run right from the beginning.
Right, I was on mute. You're right.
Yes,
You hear me now?
I do. Your Shakespearean voice?
When God began to create heaven and the earth being unformed and void, with darkness over the surface of the deep, a wind from God sweeping over the water.
This word for wind is ruach, like the spirit of God. It's a wind from him. We've seen throughout the scriptures, we see wind showing up over and over again, where there was a wind that blew overnight and the Red Sea parted in the morning. And it's beautiful. And the words for unformed and void are famous. Tohu vavohu. This is the only place that we find it. It denotes chaos. There was chaos, and God would begin to bring order over his creation.
And God said, "Let there be light." And there was light. God saw that the light was good, and God separated the light from the darkness. God called the light day, and called the darkness night. And there was evening, and there was morning, a first day.
And I was thinking, why do you think night is the beginning? Why do you think the day starts the evening before? We start with light and then we go to day, to light during the day. Any ideas, guys?
Could you word that again? You start, it's from the eve, I know that it's from
Yeah.
the evening of the night before, the night evening. to
Yeah, the
day.
night before. Exactly. That's a day one. Starts in the evening.
But I remember hearing that in the portion this week, but doesn't it also end at the evening? The sundown it ends.
Yeah, from sundown to sundown. Why isn't it from morning when the
So
sun
like
comes out?
light to light.
Yeah,
Right. Yeah, I remember Mauricio
it's
talking
interesting.
about it.
Yeah. And I remember the thing that came to my mind was how a baby is in the womb in darkness. And even though it may not seem like there's a baby, there is a baby growing in the womb, and life starts right there in the dark and then comes out in the light. I just thought it was interesting because there's always pictures in the Torah, pictures that hint at something bigger.
Yeah. Also, I think was Mauricio was saying that when we come to know God, we're coming out of darkness.
Right.
Spiritually, we grow. We don't go from light to darkness. We go from darkness to light.
Beautiful. Yes. Okay, Jer.
And God said, let there be an expanse in the midst of the water, that it may separate water from water.
The waters above from the waters below. Shemayim.
God made the expanse, and it separated the water which was below the expanse from the water which was above the expanse. And it was so. God called the expanse sky, and there was evening and there was morning, a second day. God said, let the water below the sky be gathered into one area, that the dry land may appear. And it was so. God called the dry land earth, and called the gathering of waters seas. And God saw that it was good. And God said, let the earth sprout vegetation, seed-bearing plants, fruit trees of every kind on earth that bear fruit with the seed in it. And it was so. The earth brought forth vegetation, seed-bearing plants of every kind, and trees of every kind of bearing fruit with the seed in it. And God saw that this was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, a third day. God said, let there be lights in the expanse of the sky to separate day from night. They shall serve as signs for the set times, the days and the years.
Now, these set times here are called the Moedim. And the Moedim we know to be God's holidays that he gave us. We just passed through three of them. Yom Teruah, which is also known as Rosh Hashanah, Yom Kippur, and Sukkot. The ones in the fall, those are the fall. The ones in the spring are Pesach, first fruits, and Shavuot. So we know that it's right here from the very beginning of time that God set his special days for us to have these holy days. They were not meant only for the Jews. This was for all humanity. It begins right here in Bereshit.
And they shall serve as lights in the expanse of the sky to shine upon the earth. And
Peggy?
it was so.
Yes,
Sorry,
Mary.
I remember I think it's years ago, I know it's years ago already, that you brought up in one of, when the rabbi was still here in the congregation, that the lights, the great lights, the moon and the sun, came before the plants.
Exactly. I was going to say that, but because we see that it's here. But it does say here, the earth brought forth vegetation. The vegetation was before the sun.
That's what I mean.
Yeah,
God kept, God's light. I
e-
mean, that,
exactly.
yeah,
And it says one day in the very end that there will be all light.
right.
There will be only light, which is absolutely beautiful. So they should serve as lights, okay, to shine upon the earth.
God made the two great lights, the greater light to dominate the day, and the lesser light to dominate the night, and the stars. And God set them in the expanse of the sky to shine upon the earth, to dominate the day and the night, and to separate light from darkness. And God saw that this was good. And there was evening, and there was morning, a fourth day. God said, let the waters bring forth swarms of living creatures, and birds that fly above the earth across the expanse of the sky. God created the great sea monsters and all the living creatures of every kind that creep, which the waters brought forth in swarms, and all the winged birds of every kind. And God saw that this was good. God blessed them, saying, be fruitful and increase. Fill the waters in the seas, and let the birds increase on the earth. And there was evening, and there was morning, a fifth day. God said, let the earth bring forth every kind of living creature, cattle, creeping things, and wild beasts of every kind. And it was so. God made wild beasts of every kind, and cattle of every kind, and all kinds of creeping things of the earth. And God saw that this was good. And God said, let us make humankind in our image, after our likeness. They shall rule the fish of the sea, the birds of the sky, the cattle, the whole earth, and all the creeping things that creep upon the earth. And God created humankind in the divine image, creating it in the image of God, creating them male and female.
Here's where we get the idea, because later on he says it is not good for man to be alone. So here's where they get the idea that male and female, it says even though it created them, but we get the idea from our rabbis that Adam was androgynous at this point. Whether that's true, I don't know.
God blessed them, and God said to them, be fruitful and increase. Fill the earth and master it, and rule the fish of the sea, the birds of the sky, and all the living things that creep on earth.
Here, God was putting man in charge of bringing order, to keep these things in order, to have dominion over them, to watch over them.
God said, see, I give you every seed-bearing plant that is upon the earth, and every tree that has seed-bearing fruit. They shall be yours for food.
Just to say something here on behalf of Mildred, at this, and I'm joking, but I believe it too. At this point, we weren't given animals to eat.
No, it was after the flood, which we'll see coming up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And to all the animals on land, to all the birds of the sky, and to everything that creeps on earth, in which there is the breath of life, I give all the green plants for food. And it was so. And God saw all that had been made, and found it very good. And there was evening, and there was morning, the sixth day.
Thank you, Jerry. Miriam, would you like to continue?
Okay. The heaven and the earth were finished, and all their array. On the seventh day, God finished the work that had been undertaken. God ceased on the seventh day from doing any of the work. And God blessed the seventh day and declared it holy, having ceased on it from all the work of creation that God had done.
Now, holy means separated from the other days. That's
Yes.
all it means. It doesn't
Set
mean
apart.
exactly set apart.
Such is the story of heaven and earth when they were created, when God, Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, made earth and heaven. When no shrub of the field was yet on earth, and no grasses of the field had yet sprouted, because God had not sent rain upon the earth, and there were no human beings to till the soil.
So, in other words, the water came up from the ground. And
Right.
here, it would say it here.
But a flow would well up from the ground and water the whole surface of the earth. God formed the human from the soil's, not humus.
Not hummus, exactly.
From the soil's humus, no? Is that it?
Yeah, yeah.
Soil's humus. blowing into his nostrils the breath of life, the human being became a living being. God planted a garden in Eden in the east and placed there the human who had been fashioned. And from the ground, God, Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh, caused to grow every tree that was pleasing to the sight and good for food, with the tree of life in the middle of the garden, and the tree of knowledge of good and bad.
Okay, so we have all different types of fruit trees, and then these special two trees, the tree of life, which would give us eternal life, and the tree of the knowledge of good and bad.
A river issues from Eden to water the garden, and it then divides and becomes 4 branches. The name of the first is Pishon, the one that winds through the whole land of Havilah, where the gold is. The gold of that land is good. Delium is there, and lapis lazuli. The name of the second river is Gihon, the one that winds through the whole land of Cush. The name of the third river is Tigris, the one that flows east of Ashur, and the fourth river is the Euphrates. God settled the human in the Garden of Eden to till it and to tend it. So here's what we talked about.
Yeah,
Even though the plants were there, we still had to care for them and
exactly.
care for the animals.
There was still work to be done. We had to serve the earth.
Right.
Yeah,
We're to be custodians.
exactly.
Unlike, anyway, I've said this so many times, but when it says man shall have dominion, even though it's true that, man is like the king of the earth,
Yeah,
dominion is not the way a lot of people, especially in the early days of empires and stuff, they interpreted dominion almost as a subjugation.
right.
It was a stewardship.
Exactly.
Tend everything.
Yeah, it's like because the earth is also a living thing.
Yeah, it's not like taking your whip and subjugating, because dominion sounds could
Exactly.
imply that.
Exactly.
And God commanded the humans, saying, of every tree of the garden you are free to eat. But as for the tree of knowledge of good and bad, you must not eat of it, for as soon as you eat of it, you shall die.
So this was the only command that we received, that they received. Do not eat of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. That was a spiritual death. That was the only thing we were told not to do.
I wonder if I mean, there's so many people who talk about this. That's such a powerful, whatever it is, a metaphor or whatever. Like, what does it mean, the knowledge of good and bad? Because maybe we become arrogant, and we become the judges we make our own rules, and maybe there's something here that has something to do with that. But I don't know what other people think.
I'm going to be speaking about it on Shabbat.
Okay.
Yeah.
God said, it is not good for the human to be alone. I will make a fitting counterpart for him.
It says, V'omer Adonai, lo tov Adam, for the man, yes, to be alone.
And God formed out of the earth all the wild beasts and all the birds of the sky, and brought them to the human to see what he would call them. And whatever the human called each living creature, that would be its name.
That
That's
must have
very
been,
special.
yeah. Can you imagine? That must have taken him a long time. There were a lot of animals.
But it's just it's an act of intimacy.
Yeah,
You don't name well, unless you're Miriam Birnbaum, but you don't name an iron filing, or you name a dog, a cat,
right,
even maybe a plant. So this is an intimate thing to name.
right.
Naming is very intimate.
Exactly. It all denotes relationship.
Relationship and life.
Yeah, exactly.
And the human gave names to all the cattle and to the birds of the sky and to all the wild beasts, but no fitting counterpart for a human being was found. So God cast a deep sleep upon the human, and while he slept, God took one of his sides and closed up the flesh at that site. And God fashioned the side that had been taken from the human into a woman, bringing her to the human. Then the human said, "This one at last is bone of my bones and flesh of my flesh. This one shall be called woman, for from a human was she taken."
I don't like the word human used here. I like better Adam or the man. It's just,
Yeah, it's too scientific.
I don't like it anyway, but they have a choice in what they, because the word for human is Adam, taken from
Right.
the earth, the man.
No, earth is, Adam is earth, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Because the earth was red, dom.
Yeah, changes the feeling.
Yeah.
Before I forget, as the second commandment, I will talk later. Okay. Hence, a man leaves his father and mother and clings to his wife so that they become one flesh.
What were you going to say? What do you mean about?
Oh, sorry, because we're not doing it now, the second commandment. It should say, and anyway, can we talk about it? Do you want to talk about
Yeah.
it? You
I
wanna
just
talk-
don't know why you would have brought it up now.
Because my head is like a light board. For one thing, it has nothing to do with anything, just in my head. Oh, maybe it's because you said you don't like the translation. It reminded me that I don't like some translation of the second commandment.
Okay. All right. Go
The
ahead.
two of them were naked, the man and his wife, yet they felt no shame.
Okay. Now the serpent was the shrewdest of all the wild beasts that God, Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh, had made. It said to the woman, "Did God really say, 'You shall not eat of any tree of the garden'?" The woman replied to the serpent, "We may eat of the fruit of the other trees of the garden. It's only about fruit of the tree in the middle of the garden that God said, 'You shall not eat of it or touch it, lest you die.'" God never said that. We shouldn't add to his words, because then we could get lost. The serpent said to the woman, "You're not going to die. God knows as soon as you eat it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like divine beings who know good and bad. Tov v'ra." When the woman saw that the tree was good for eating and a delight to the eyes, and that the tree was desirable as a source of wisdom, she took of its fruit and ate. And she also gave some to her husband, and he ate. Here's where Adam fell. He didn't say to her, "Eve, no, we have only one rule. Today we have 10, but then we have one rule, and the principle, whether it was 1 or 10, are the same. The principle was that when you break them, when you disobey, there are consequences, spiritual consequences. We die spiritually." Then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they realized that they were naked. So here was the first religion. They sewed together fig leaves and they made themselves loincloths. They were finding their own solution to this spiritual problem. They heard the sound of God moving about in the garden at the breezy time of day, and the man and his wife hid from God among the trees of the garden. And God called out to the man, to Adam, and said to him, "Where are you?" And Adam replied, "I heard you walking in the garden, and I was afraid because I was naked, so I hid." "Who told you you were naked? Did you eat of the tree from which I had forbidden you to eat?" The man said, "The woman you gave me, the woman you put at my side, she gave me of the tree and I ate." Isn't that typical? Instead of just admitting what we did, immediately the shame attacks the ego and we want to hide and we want to pretend it didn't happen. Happens to every one of us. And God said to the woman, "What is this you've done?" The woman replied, "It was a serpent duped me and I ate." In other words, both of them said, "You made her." And she said, "You made the serpent." So we're ultimately blaming God. Then God said to the serpent, "Because you did this, more cursed shall you be than all the cattle and all the wild beasts. On your belly shall you crawl, and dirt shall you eat all the days of your life. I will put enmity between you and the woman, between your offspring and hers. They shall strike at your head, and you shall strike at their heel.
That's the famous messianic verse that a lot of people take to mean between Satan and Yeshua.
Yeah. And what do you take it to mean?
Well, I'm not enmity between you and the woman, between your offspring and hers. I mean, I'm just going right now off the cuff. I can't think of that except disobedience or evil, or it's not going to be, the walk with God is really going to be hard. But between your offspring and who are your offspring? Who is the snake's offspring? I think just evil, anti-God.
Yeah. Yeah. That makes
And
sense.
that's what the way the world is right now.
Exactly. The patterns that we see set up right here in Bereshit, and again, you'll see in Noah, and this is again what I'm speaking about on Shabbat, God sets up patterns within which he works, and these are repeated and expanded upon throughout the ages, but he usually remains within the pattern that he sets up that bring us principles of life. And to the woman, God said, I will greatly expand your hard labor and your pregnancies. In pain shall you bear children, and your urge shall be for your husband, and he shall have dominion over you. He shall rule over you. Up to this time, remember, Eve was the last of creation, the closest thing to God. She didn't have pain. She wouldn't have had pain bearing children. And she and her husband were equal, but she was higher in value because she had a special relationship with the Creator that man did not have at this point, which is why they say the serpent tempted her and not Adam. Adam wouldn't have cared to be like God or to have more wisdom than he was already given. He had plenty to do, tending the garden, taking care of everything. He wouldn't have been interested. But the woman, she was curious. What is this wisdom to know good and bad, to know more? Women are always have this second instinct, this second nature. To Adam, God said, because you did as your wife said, and ate of the tree about which I commanded you, you shall not eat of it. Cursed shall be the ground because of you. It's interesting. He didn't curse Adam. He cursed the ground. By hard labor shall you eat of it all the days of your life. Up to then, it would have been so easy for him. He would have been able to, he was given everything he needed to take care of the garden. Now, the earth would fight back.
That sort of shows, like, even now with the the environmental prominence in the news, it really even applies to that. It's not that we've directly changed the planet, in a sense. There are always cycles in the climate cycles, but the temperature we have switched by breaking mountains that have they change the soil so that water runs all over the place, and like what we do has consequences even on the environment.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So
Yeah.
even maybe some of these crazy storms are a result of our disobedience.
Of course, and things that we're doing to the earth, even like we're doing what's called cloud seeding. We create clouds and storms in one area for various reasons, and
How do you mean we create them?
cloud seeding, humans create clouds.
What does it? I don't. I vaguely sounds familiar, but I don't know about it.
Well, we'll go into it another time. We've got too much to
Okay,
cover right
okay,
now,
all
but
right,
all you
okay.
have to do is look up cloud seeding.
Okay.
Thorns and thistles shall it sprout for you. But your food shall be the grasses of the field, and by the sweat of your brow shall you get bread to eat until you return to the ground. For from it you were taken, and for dust you are, and to dust you shall return. That's what we're made of. All the elements of the earth are found in the DNA of humanity, the human being. The human named his wife Eve. Only here was she named. She wasn't named before the fall, if you notice, before the disobedience.
Oh, okay, right.
Man named his wife Chava because she was the mother of all the living. And God made garments of skin for Adam and his wife and clothed them. So here you see Adam and Eve. Adam had made a covering from trees, fig leaves or whatever they were. I think they were fig leaves. But here, God took the garments of animals.
Right,
So here we see the first offering, the first killing of an animal because of what we did,
right.
and clothed them. And God said, now mankind has become like us, knowing good and bad. What if one should stretch out a hand and also take from the tree of life and eat and live forever? That wasn't his plan, that we would live forever in this state of knowing good and evil. When we live forever, it'll be in the state where we will know only good. This will be turned back to Eden again. So God banished man from the Garden of Eden to till the earth from which it was taken. It was driven out, and east of the Garden of Eden were stationed the cherubim, the cherubs, these angels, and the fiery, ever spinning sword to guard the way to the tree of life. Now the human knew his wife. He knew, meaning Yodea, meaning he had intimate relationship with his wife Eve, and she conceived and bore Cain, saying, I have gained a person with the help of God. In other words, the word here is acquired. I've acquired a new person with the help of God.
This is all after the disobedience. I wonder if that.
Yes. Yes, they're kicked out now. They're outside the.
Right. So I wonder if this would have happened, what would have, anyway, just conjecture, what would have happened if they would have had, like, how more people would come about, or if more people would come about, had there not been disobedience.
Well, I think there were other people that came about.
Oh, yeah, yeah, okay.
Yeah, there had to be.
Yeah,
because-
you have to, because I remember I was going to ask you later.
Yeah.
When you see later. Yeah, you're right.
Exactly. Okay, do you want to read some more?
Qui, moi? Me?
Yeah.
Okay. She then bore his brother Abel. Abel or Abel?
What other?
Okay, Abel became a keeper of sheep, and Cain became a tiller of the soil. In the course of time, Cain brought an offering to Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh from the fruit of the soil. And Abel, for his part, brought the choicest of the firstlings of his flock. Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh paid heed to Abel and his offering. But to Cain and his offering, God paid no heed. Cain was much distressed, and his face fell.
So we see here, he says, Cain brought an offering. Abel brought the choicest of the firstlings. First fruits. So there's a difference in his intention.
Right. And Adonai said to Cain, I never know what to call it.
You can call it Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh, Adonai, God, Hashem, whatever you want.
Okay, I'll just say God.
Because we don't know at this point how to say Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh.
Right, okay. And God said to Cain, why are you distressed, and why is your face fallen? Surely, if you do right, so here's the answer too.
Yeah.
He obviously did wrong. Surely, if you do right, there is uplift. But if you do not do right, sin crouches at the
It should be crouches.
Crouches at the door. Its urge is toward you, yet you can be its master.
So we can master.
Right.
sin. Yes.
Cain said to his brother Abel, and when they were in the field, Cain set upon his brother Abel and killed him. God said to Cain, where is your brother Abel? And he said, I do not know. Am I my brother's keeper? What have you done? Hark, your brother's blood cries out to me from the ground. Therefore you shall be more cursed than the ground, which opened its mouth to receive your brother's blood from your hand. If you till the soil, it shall no longer yield its strength to you. You shall become a ceaseless wanderer on earth. Cain said to God, my punishment is too great to bear. Since you have banished me this day from the soil, and I must avoid your presence and become a restless wanderer on earth, anyone who meets me may kill me. God said to him, I promise if anyone kills Cain, sevenfold vengeance shall be exacted. And God put a mark on Cain, lest anyone who met him should kill him. Cain left the presence of God and settled in the land of Nod, east of Eden. Cain knew his wife, and she conceived and bore Enoch. And he then founded a city and named the city after his son Enoch.
So this shows you there were other people that he created.
Right.
Where would he
Yeah.
have found his wife?
Right.
Or enough people to have a city?
Yeah, and that's what I think. Adam and Eve is a metaphor, but a very big important one.
Yeah, a prototype of the others that God
Yeah.
created. Yeah, not everything has to be written. Anyway, I'm not going to read all these because,
Okay,
yeah,
this one bore that one and that one.
exactly, because I want to get on to,
We can say that Lamech was the father of Noah, right? Is that correct?
yes, exactly. That's important.
Yeah.
So Adam knew his wife again, and she bore a son and named him Seth, meaning God has provided me with another offspring in the place of Abel, for Cain had killed him. And to Seth in turn, a son was born, and he named him Enosh. It was then that the Lord, that Yud-Heh-Vav-Heh, began to be invoked by name.
Yeah, I love this verse.
Yeah, me too. This is the record of Adam's line when God created. Okay, I want to just, Adam lived 130 years. He begot a son in his likeness after his image and named him Seth. Okay, I don't want to read all this now. This we could read later. You can read it on your own. I want to get to, because we're running out of time, and I want to get to Noah. I love this one here. All the days of Enoch came to 365 years, and Enoch walked with God. And we're going to hear the same thing with Noah. Then he was no more, for God took him. People have talked about what this means. Did he just, was he just raised up? Did he not die? The same as Elijah the prophet.
Right.
God took him.
And okay.
And what?
Well, no, I don't know. You see the sort of lineages of the good followers of God and of the evil.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. I don't know if I would call them evil.
Well, disobedient.
Absolutely, because that's what we're going to see is the bottom line in so many of these things is disobedience. When Methuselah lived 187 years, he gave birth, or his wife gave birth to Lamech. After the birth of Lamech, Methuselah lived 782 years. That's why people live so long. They had a lot of children. Methuselah came to 969 and then he died. Lamech lived 182 and he had a son and he named him Noah. Noah meaning this will provide us rest, relief from our work and from the toil of our hands out of the very soil which the Lord had placed under a curse. And after the birth of Noah, Lamech lived 595. Okay, let's continue. When Noah had lived 500 years, Noah begot Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Humankind began to increase on earth, and daughters were born to them. The males among the divine beings saw how pleasing the human. Now, this is an interpretation because we don't know. It says it's the sons of Ha Elohim. Don't know what that means. There's Miriam. Do you remember?
Yes. Sorry, yeah, I hear it.
The males among the divine beings saw how pleasing the human women were and took wives from among those who delighted them.
The Nephilim, right?
That's what they say. Others say that they're just sons of God, which are people. We're all sons, children of God. were all sons of God. Maybe these were stronger men, stronger rulers on earth.
Yeah, it's funny. I don't know unless, I mean, there's all sorts of conjecture. Even there are people now, and gets wacko, and people saying giants and skeletons of giants have been found. And, like, I don't know, all this sort of occult leaning stuff.
Right.
I don't know if it's true, but it's, I don't think it's many things are possible, and there could have been some sort of horrible, ungodly thing that happened here. We don't know. I don't know.
Well, we know that the earth is moving toward the place where it was so horrible when Noah walked the earth that humankind had really had a fall.
Yeah, so I mean, I wouldn't be, but I wouldn't be surprised if there's some sort of spiritual involvement here, wickedness, evil. I don't know, because things really got worse than ever.
Yeah. The Lord said, "My breath shall not abide in mankind forever, since it too is flesh, that the days allowed them to be 120 years." So it was then and later that the Nephilim appeared on earth, when divine beings cohabitated with the human women. Again, it says Elohim. I don't know who these divine beings could have been. I don't know if they were angels. Could angel cohabitate with women and bore them offspring? Such were the heroes of old. I don't know, and I have no opinion on it. But we see how great God saw, how great human wickedness became upon the earth, and how every thought, every plan devised by the human mind was nothing but evil all the time. Can you imagine? I mean, that's how I imagine Hamas to be now. The only
Right.
thing they're doing is thought
Yeah,
of
they
evil.
they seem beyond uh a redemption, that like they went too far.
They went too far, exactly. And look, the cycle that was begun here right from the very beginning has continued throughout the ages, and we see it even today. And the Lord regretted having made man on earth. With a sorrowful heart, he said, "I will blot out from the earth mankind whom I created, humans together with beasts." Even the beasts, you hear of these dogs that attack people. The problem isn't the dog, it's the humans who own the dogs and train them like that.
Well, that's why you see the consequences. Even innocents suffer from
Exactly.
our evil.
Exactly.
Birds, what did the birds do?
Yeah, creeping things, birds of the sky, for I regret that I made them. And then it ends up here. But Noah found chen, grace, in the eyes of God. And then it says Noah was a righteous man. He was a tzaddik. It says tzaddik. He was blameless. The word for blameless is tamim. Ish tam. He was an ish tam. An ish tam is a man without guile, a man who was innocent in his age compared to the others. And it says, and Noah walked with God like Enoch walked with God. So we see the cycle continue. And here this man, Noah, a tzaddik, a righteous person. And it's interesting because the word for justice is tzedek, the same root, tzedek, tzedek. God is going to be showing us the things that he wants in humankind: righteousness, ishtam, to be blameless, to be innocent, to be, what's the word? What word did I use? He wanted ishtam, a man without guile.
Right, right.
So Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth had become corrupt before God. The earth was filled with, and here it says lawlessness, but the word in Hebrew is
Hamas.
Hamas, violent.
Okay.
Yeah,
I'm sure they took it from there.
I don't have any idea if they did or not. It's possible. When God saw how corrupt the earth was, for all flesh had corrupted its ways on earth, God said to Noah, I've decided to put an end to all flesh, and the earth is filled with Hamas because of them. I'm going to destroy them with the earth. And then he tells him to make an ark of gopher wood, make compartments, cover it inside and out with tar, and then he gives the length and the width, and tells us when to make an opening, the second and third decks. And he says, for my part, I am going to bring the Mabul, the flood, waters on the earth to destroy all flesh under the sky in which there is breath of life. Everything on earth shall perish because his breath, his ruach, cannot live in corruption. He had to get rid of it. But I will establish my covenant. You see, this is where we see the first covenant. There was a covenant, but it was not a named covenant with Adam. The only thing that he was told was, do not eat from the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. But here, a covenant is a pact, an oath between God and the people. And this covenant would be spelt out in a few minutes. You're going to enter the ark with your sons, your wife, and your sons' wives. And of all that lives, of all flesh, you shall take 2 of each into the ark to keep alive with you. They shall be male and female. From birds of every kind, cattle of every kind, creeping things on earth, 2 of each shall come to you to stay alive. For your partake of everything that is eaten and stored away to serve as food for you and for them. Noah did just as God commanded him. Noah was faithful. He was obedient. This shows that he was a step up from Adam, who was not obedient. Then God said to Noah, go into the ark with your household, and for you alone have I found righteous before me in this generation. Again, tzaddik. Of every pure animal. And you would wonder, how did they know then which were animals that were, and the word here would be tahor. Tahor, tameh. Tahor, tameh. Remember, later on, we're going to read about those animals that were tahor, presentable. And here, the ones that were going to be presentable to be used as offerings, Thanksgiving offerings, would be 7 pairs because they would be offered, sacrificed. But the ones that were tameh, they were not pure. In other words, they could not be offered to God for whatever reasons. They would only take 2, a male and a
I
female.
guess like they wouldn't, like Noah, I wonder how he understood that. Like what,
I guess God told him.
yeah, I guess,
One, it was the only way, because how else would he have known?
right.
God had to have revealed that to him. Of the birds of the sky, 7. So he had to take many more of those that were going to be offered, because they would be dead and they would be eaten. But the ones that were going to be offered were only 2 of a kind. For in 7 days the rain was going to fall upon the earth. I will make it rain 40 days and 40 nights, and I will blot out from the earth all existence that I created. And again, Noah did just as the Lord had commanded him. Noah was 600 years old when the flood came, and waters came upon the earth. Noah, with his sons, his wife, his sons' wives, went into the ark because of the waters of the flood. Of the pure animals, of the animals that are not pure, of the birds, of everything that creeps on the ground, 2 of each, male and female, came to Noah into the ark, as God commanded Noah. On the 7th day, the waters of the flood came upon the earth. 7 days. That 7 is a very significant number. 7th day is also the Shabbat. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, on the 17th day of the month, all the fountains of the great deep burst apart, and the floodgates of heaven broke open, and the rain fell on earth 40 days and 40 nights. That same day, Noah, his sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, went into the ark. Noah's wife and the 3 wives of his sons. Interesting that the wives weren't given names. We don't know who they were. They and all the beasts of every kind, all the cattle, the creatures, the birds, every winged thing, they came to Noah and went into the ark, 2 each of all flesh in which there was breath of life. God must have spoken to the animals,
Yeah.
because how else would they have known to come? Noah couldn't have gone and gathered them all. So they entered, they that entered comprised male and female of all flesh, as God had commanded him. And then the Lord shut the door. He shut them in. The flood continued 40 days on earth, and the waters increased and raised the ark so that it rose above the earth, and the waters swelled and increased greatly upon the earth, and the ark drifted upon the waters. When the waters had swelled much more upon the earth, all the highest mountains everywhere under the sky were covered. All the highest mountains. Imagine when you
Wow.
look at the mountains today, how huge they are. 15 cubits higher did the water swell as the mountains were covered. All flesh that stirred upon the earth perished, birds, cattle, beasts, everything that swarmed, all mankind, in whose nostrils were the merest breath of life. All that was on dry ground, they died. All existence was blotted out. Humans, cattle, creeping things. Only
Even birds.
Even the birds, they had nowhere to sit. They couldn't stay in the sky for 40 days. The rain was so hard,
Right.
they were drowned. And only Noah was left and those who were in the ark with him. And when the waters had swelled on the earth 150 days, God remembered Noah. It's not that God forgot him, but God put his attention again on Noah and all the beasts and all the cattle that were with him in the ark. And God caused his ruach, his breath to blow across the earth, and the waters subsided, just like the waters subsided as we crossed the Red Sea, the Sea of Reeds. The fountains of the deep and the floodgates of the sky stopped, and the rain from the sky was held back. The waters then receded steadily from the earth, and at the end of 150 days, the waters diminished. So that in the 7th month, on the 17th day of the month, the ark came to rest on the mountains of Ararat. They say that's in Armenia or parts of Turkey. The waters went on diminishing until the 10th month, the month of Tevet. In the 10th month, on the 1st of the month, the tops of the mountains became visible. At the end of 40 days, Noah opened the window of the ark he had made and sent out a raven. It went to and fro until the waters had dried up upon the earth. The interesting thing is, it doesn't say the raven came back.
Maybe it's
It went to and fro until the waters had dried up. So it kept going back and forth. But then he sent out a dove to see where the waters had decreased from the surface of the ground. But the dove couldn't find a resting place for its foot, and then returned him to the ark, for there was water all over the earth. Excuse me. So putting out his hand, he took it into the ark with him. He waited another 7 days and again sent out the dove from the ark. The dove came back to him toward evening, and there in its bill was a plucked off olive leaf, an olive branch. We see that image everywhere today.
yeah, offering the olive branch.
Exactly, an olive branch of peace, of hope. Then Noah knew that the waters had decreased on the earth, but he waited another 7 days and sent the dove forth, but it didn't return to him anymore. So he knew they were safe. In the 601st year, in the 1st month, on the 1st of the month, I wonder if this was at the time of what we know as Pesach, because it said in the 1st month,
Right.
on the 1st of the month,
That's right.
the new beginning. God is so beautiful in his pictures. The waters began to dry from the earth. When Noah removed the covering of the ark, he saw the surface of the ground was drying. It wasn't completely dry, it was drying. But the 2nd month, on the 27th day of the month, the earth was dry. And God spoke to Noah, saying, "Come out of the ark, together with your wife, your sons, and your sons' wives. Bring out with you every living thing of all flesh that is with you, all the birds and the animals and everything that creeps on the earth, and let them swarm on the earth and be fertile, be fruitful, and multiply on the earth." So we
Did you just see it? I mean, lions and tigers and rabbits and birds.
it was exciting, a new beginning, a new hope for mankind. And Noah came out together with his sons and his wife and his son's wife, and every animal, every creeping thing, every bird, everything that stirs on earth came out of the ark by families. Then Noah built an altar to God, and taking of every pure animal, every animal that was acceptable to God as an offering, and every bird that was acceptable to God as an
So there
offering.
were 7 of the pure animals, right?
Yes,
And
yes,
only 2 of the unpure? No,
yes,
not unclean, right?
yes. So he offered olim, the burnt offerings on the altar. No, olot. And God smelled the pleasing odors. It would be called the reach nachoyach, the pleasing aroma. And God resolved, "Never again will I destroy the earth because of man, because of the devisings of the human mind. They are evil from his youth." Imagine. "Nor will I ever again destroy every living being as I have done." In other words, with a flood. "As long as the earth endures, seed time and harvest, cold and heat, summer and winter, day and night shall not cease." And God blessed Noah and his sons and said to them, "Be fruitful, be multiply, fill the earth. The fear and dread of you, the reverence of you, shall be upon all the animals of the earth and upon all the birds of the sky, everything with which the earth is astir, and upon all the fish of the sea. They are given into your hand." Just like he did with Adam, he's doing again. But this time, every creature that lives shall be yours to eat. As it was before with the green grasses, I give you all of these. Every creature that lives shall be yours to eat. So this had nothing to do with food. "You must not, however, eat flesh with its life blood in it." The whole idea we heard before about how the ground cried out when Cain killed Abel. This had to do with murder, not taking another life. "But for your own life blood, I will require a reckoning. I will require it of every beast, of man will I require a reckoning for human life, of everyone for each other." In other words, we were not to commit murder. No more.
What does it mean of every beast? Is that just I will require a reckoning. I will require it of every beast.
Well, I really believe that we humankind have to make an account even of every beast that we kill and how we kill it. This is how I see this.
Okay, it makes sense.
"Whoever sheds human blood, by human hands shall that one blood be shed. For in the image of God was man made." And that is the bottom line. We are not to murder anything made in God's image, because
Right.
we destroy God's essence.
Right.
So be fruitful, multiply, increase, fill the earth. And God said to Noah and his sons, "I now establish my covenant with you and your offspring to come, and with every living thing that is with you, birds, cattle, and every wild beast as well, all that have come out of the ark, every living thing on earth. I will guard, maintain, keep my covenant with you. Never again shall all flesh be cut off by the waters of a flood, and never again shall there be a flood to destroy the earth. God further said, this is the sign, Ot. This is the sign that I set for the covenant between me and you and every living creature with you for ages to come. I've set my rainbow in the clouds, and it shall serve as a sign of the covenant between me and the earth. He's making his covenant with the earth. I bring clouds. When I bring clouds over the earth and the rainbow appears in the clouds, I will remember my covenant between me and you and every living creature among all flesh, so that the waters shall never again become a flood to destroy all flesh. His covenant is not only with humans, it's with animals, it's with the earth, which is a living thing.
Yeah, I find that amazing.
It is, it's marvelous. When the rainbow is in the clouds, I will see it and remember the everlasting covenant between God and all living creatures, all flesh that is on the earth. And God said to Noah, that shall be the sign of the covenant that I have established between me and all flesh that is on earth. Now, this next line I found fascinating, because all the genealogies that we read, whenever you see somebody's name, it's like what you said before, Miriam. You said Lamech, we needed to name Lamech because he
Right.
became the father of Noah. So
Right.
he's Noah ben Lamech. But here, look what it says. The sons of Noah who came out of the ark were Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Ham being the father of Canaan. Do you see how it's the opposite? Here,
Uh,
it's not saying Canaan ben Ham. It's saying Ham, who was the father of Canaan. This was a very special picture that we're being shown here.
okay.
The three sons of Noah, these three were the sons of Noah, and from these three, the whole world branched out. Noah, the tiller of the soil, was the first to plant a vineyard. He drank of the wine and became drunk, and he covered himself within his
Uncovered.
uncovered himself. So here was this man who was fully obedient, who was a righteous man, ish tam. And the first thing that he does was he becomes drunk. God didn't say, thou shalt not become drunk.
And he didn't say being righteous means being perfect.
Exactly. And here we learn Ham, the father of Canaan, saw his father's nakedness and told his brothers outside. But Shem and Japheth took a cloth and placed it against both their backs, and walking backwards, they covered their father's nakedness. Their faces were turned the other way, so they did not see their father's nakedness. When Noah woke up from his wine and learned what his youngest son had done to him, we don't know what he did to him. It's not described. It's not expressed here. But we know that it was bad enough that Canaan was cursed. Notice that Ham wasn't cursed. It
No,
was Canaan that was cursed, which was why it says that. Ham, the father of Canaan.
right. Because later on, a lot of racism came because even from Christianity, even because and Ham was the father of the black races.
But
And
it isn't. That's a lie. It had nothing to do with the black races. We have to look at who were the descendants of Canaan.
no, but that's what but you didn't let me finish. What
Sorry.
I'm saying is they mistakenly told they made Ham out to be that the race of black race they've even some of them have gone as far as to say was a cursed race because they came from Ham, but the curse was through Canaan. It wasn't through Ham. I mean, Ham is the father, but the curse, it was here, the curse came through Canaan.
And we have to see who these people were, which you're going to hear on Shabbat, or you
Right.
can look it up. Cursed be Canaan, the lowest of slaves, shall he be to his brothers. And he said, blessed be Adonai, the God of Shem, let Canaan be a slave to them. Right now, remember, Canaan became the land that was given, became the promised land.
Right.
And all those who were there would become the slaves to the Semites. They don't like this.
No.
May God enlarge the tents of Japheth. Let him dwell in the tents of Shem. May God enlarge Japheth. Let him dwell in the tents of Shem. In other words, under the covering of Shem. So we have to look at who was Japheth? Who did he become? That's another whole story. And they also would dwell under the covering of Shem, the God of Shem. Let Canaan be a slave to them. And Noah lived after the flood 350 years, and all the days of Noah came to 950 years, and then he died. And these are the lines of Shem, Ham, and Japheth. So I'm not going to read this, all the rest. This is something that you can go ahead and read on your own. Just a few of them, though, you'll see. Who are Japheth? Gomer, we know was Germany. Magog, Madai, Javan, these were I think the Greek Isles. Tuval, Meshech, Moscow, or Tubal were the northern kingdoms. Tiras, Gomer, that's Ashkenaz, is where the Ashkenazi Jews come from. Togar
Germany
was
and all those countries.
Turkey. All these names had a reason. The descendants of Ham, Cush, I think was as part of Ethiopia, Sudan, that whole area.
Right.
Mizraim, Egypt. Put was, I don't remember.
That's Libya.
Libya, I think, yeah. And Canaan. Canaan became. Anyway, so we're going to finish here. But really, I don't know if there's anything more after this that we want to continue with before we get to the next. Oh, here, this is interesting. Shelah begot Ever, and Ever would be
These are from
Abraham.
no, but these are from Shem, right?
Yeah, this is from Shem. Yeah. 2 sons were born to Ever. The name of the first was Peleg, for in his days the earth was divided. What this means is when God originally created the earth and the seas, the earth was one great landmass. And that's why people could travel through all over the earth, because there was no water dividing it. But in the days of Peleg, the earth was divided and the waters, and now you see islands and places where you can't cross over except by boat or by plane. So these are, let me see if there's anything else I wanted to go. Everyone on earth had the same language and the same words. And as they migrated from the east, they came upon a land, the valley in the land of Shinar, and settled there. And they said to one another, let us make bricks and burn them, and let them serve as stone, and bitumen, which is tar, serve them as mortar. And they said, come, let us build a city and a tower with its top in the sky to make a name for ourselves. They wanted their name to be higher than God, or else we shall be scattered all over the world. And God came to look at the city, Babel, and the tower that humanity had built. And God said, if as one people with one language for all, if this is how they've begun to act, then nothing that they may propose to do will be out of their reach. Imagine, God gave us the ability to do anything we decided to do. Humans have the capacity to do that. And that's why God confounded the language, because we were trying to be greater than God, which is a little bit like what Eve did right at the beginning. So let's go and confuse their languages so that they shall not understand one another's speech. Then scattered them over the face of the whole earth, and they stopped building. It was called Bavel because there God confounded the speech of the whole earth. All right, and then you get again into the genealogies. So anyway, good night. Thank you
Good night.
for joining us, and I hope to see you again next week. But I look forward to Shabbat and bringing the message. I hope you can join us for that.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you. Have a wonderful evening.
Good night, Brian.
Good night, everybody.